Hi, Nuan the Movie Slinger here. So tell me, are you excited to see Tom Cruise run? Or you just want to know what his latest acrobatic insanity is? Or hell, you're just plain curious to know whether Henry Cavill's infamous mustache was really worth it? So if you want to find out, watch my review of Mission Impossible Fallout. A big shout out to Frontier Research for putting my review of Ant-Man and the Wasp on their social events newsletter. So thank you very much, guys. Thank you for that. Mission Impossible Fallout was written and directed by Christopher McQuarrie. It takes place a few years after the events of Rogue Nation. Ethan Hunt caught the leader of the syndicate, but the organization is still active through its remaining members, now calling themselves the Apostles. They are trying to acquire 3 plutonium cores for their client, the mysterious John Locke. Ethan and his team are sent in to recover the plutonium. They get into trouble and Ethan has to choose between the mission and his team. And of course he chooses his team, and so the Apostles get hold of the plutonium. Because of this failure, the CIA assigns their own agent to Ethan's team to make sure he focuses on the mission. That will be Henry Cavill and his mustache. Now together they set out to recover the plutonium, which they find out that John Locke intends to use to destabilize the current world order. And of course, Solomon Lane, the leader of the syndicate, is also involved. He's sort of pulling the strings, setting things in motion. The title of the movie Fallout refers not only to the literal fallout caused by the MacGuffin, it also refers to the consequences of Ethan Hunt's actions in the previous movies and how those choices affect the people around him. Tom Cruise is great as Ethan Hunt as always. All the relationships that were established in previous films are used masterfully to tell this story and also to develop Ethan's character further. We see Ethan's ex-wife Julia. If you saw the previous movies, you'd know that Ethan had to let her go. We see how that plays into the plot, which was unexpected but set up very well. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but there's a nice fitting conclusion to this story thread. One of the defining things about Ethan Hunt is that he won't sacrifice one innocent life for the sake of the greater good. This character trait is central to the story as both a strength and a weakness to Ethan's character. Alec Baldwin's character, the IMF chief and Ethan's boss, says that's why he trusts Ethan, while Angela Bassett's character, the CIA chief, thinks that's why the IMF's failure rate is high. We see many times during the movie how Ethan refuses to let someone die, especially his friends, and sometimes risking millions of lives. But we also see how that inspires the people around him, including his team, and that's why they love him and keep following him against all odds even when there's no clear plan. This also plays into the central conflict of the movie. Not only is the protagonist in direct conflict with the antagonist through their actions, but it's also an ideological conflict as well. There's 2 antagonists in Fallout. You could say John Locke is the primary and Solomon Lane is the secondary, but he's also being established as the main villain for the rest of the series. Solomon Lane, played by Sean Harris, is the exact opposite of Ethan. He's an anarchist hell-bent on bringing down the world order by killing millions of people. He believes that the more suffering he can cause, the greater and long-lasting will be the peace that follows. He blames Ethan because he thinks that Ethan's reluctance to risk a few lives for the greater good is what's keeping the established order in place. What propels this rivalry to the next level is that it's also a deeply personal conflict between these characters. Ethan stopped the syndicate from carrying out their plans, so Solomon wants revenge and he's willing to go very far to get that. Going back to the Fallout theme, the villain refers to this as the fallout of all your good intentions. He doesn't just want to succeed in his goals, he wants the world to see Ethan fail and suffer. It's very suspenseful to watch these two try to outsmart each other. Solomon is like a Lex Luthor level criminal mastermind, and Sean Harris does an excellent job. He's the best villain in this series, and he even has a creepy voice which goes a long way to make him feel threatening. Let's talk about John Locke. I'll just say that my only minor gripe with this movie is that I don't really feel John Locke's motivation. Plot-wise, it made sense and there's nothing wrong with the performance. It's just the character lacked conviction towards their ultimate goal. A small scene to cement the motivation would have been good. But again, it's just a minor issue since Solomon just steals the show. Ving Rhames plays Luther. I was actually surprised by his emotional range because he gave a great performance, and for the first time in the series we can understand why he's Ethan's best friend. When Luther talks about Ethan, you can tell that he really knows him, even the stuff that Ethan doesn't talk about. There's a nice scene where Luther talks to Ilsa about Ethan's past and his ex-wife where you can see this. Rebecca Ferguson is back as Ilsa, the MI6 agent. Her superiors still don't trust her because she was working undercover for the syndicate for so long. They send her to kill Solomon, but Ethan needs to keep him alive. So there's an interesting conflict of interest between her and Ethan, while at the same time they have feelings for each other which neither would admit to. She has good chemistry with Tom Cruise and very good with her action scenes too. Henry Cavill and his infamous mustache make an appearance as CIA assassin August Walker. He's assigned by his boss to keep watch on Ethan. He suspects Ethan himself could be the mysterious John Locke. What I liked about Walker was that his presence is not welcomed by Ethan's team. He doesn't like them and they don't like him. And yet despite that, this situation does create some genuinely funny moments and doesn't get too serious. There's also some good comedic chemistry between Henry Cavill and Tom Cruise, especially during the mission to intercept John Locke. It ends with an explosive fight scene in a bathroom, one of the best brawl sequences I've seen in a while. Vanessa Kirby plays the White Widow, a black market arms dealer and the daughter of Max from the first movie. She was perfectly flirtatious for this role and she nailed the accent and voice from her mother. Apparently Vanessa is the real-life daughter of the actress who played Max. There's no Jeremy Renner in this movie. Yeah. Simon Pegg plays Benji. He gets to wear a mask, finally. It was so satisfying to see that after 2 movies. Benji has developed into a stronger, more confident character through the years. He's no longer just the tech guy. He's more involved in the action as well. Simon Pegg is always reliable to bring in some laughs and he does a great job with it. Also, the face mask scenes were really good. They were set up well, tense and kept me guessing. Now this might disappoint some people, but there is no big heist sequence. This is usually the highlight of the movie, something very integral to the Mission Impossible experience. There is the sequence where Ethan and his team extract Solomon from the police escort, but there's no breaking into a vault type scenario. And strangely, I didn't mind. I feel like this series has outgrown that. Trying to outdo the previous heist scenes would turn into a slippery slope, making things too over the top. It's a lot more mature now. The big set piece was Tom Cruise dangling from a helicopter during the climactic chase sequence of the final act. That scene really kept the audience on the edge of their seats. Thrilling sequence, beautifully shot. They also managed to keep the tension going by having the team try to defuse this bomb. So it's a chase scene and a race against the clock. There's also an exciting bike chase, although thankfully it's not shot like a John Woo movie. And of course, plenty of epic shots of Tom Cruise running. So in conclusion, Fallout is a much darker movie than something like Ghost Protocol, and more along the lines of a spy thriller like Mission Impossible 3 or Rogue Nation. Not to say that it's a depressing watch, not at all. There's plenty of fun moments sandwiched between the serious ones. It's a lot more grounded as well, especially with the tech and gadgets. The plot might be slightly confusing at times. Even now I'm not sure I understood exactly what happened at every step, but the characters and the conflicts were so compelling that whatever twists and turns the plot took, I just rolled with it, and now all I want to do is watch the movie again and again. There are some great character moments involving Ethan. Some plot threads reach their conclusions, and while new ones are introduced, hopefully to be continued in a future sequel. Tom Cruise and the entire cast did a fantastic job. There's an established villain for the series now, somebody that raises the stakes for Ethan and makes it very personal. He's pretty much the Blofeld to Ethan's James Bond. Let's face it, Rogue Nation and Spectre are pretty much the same movie. It's just that Rogue Nation was awesome and Spectre was, well, kind of lame. So there you have it. I can easily recommend Mission Impossible Fallout to fans of spy movies, whether it's James Bond or Mission Impossible or the Bourne movies. This is definitely one of the best spy movies I've seen recently and one of the best in the series. Go watch this right now. The stunt work is amazing and the cinematography is breathtakingly gorgeous. You need to watch this in a movie theater. And if you can, watch this in IMAX. It would not disappoint. Okay, so have you seen Mission Impossible Fallout? What did you think about it? Did you like it? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and thanks for watching. Movie Slinger out.